Sorry I got cut off earlier. I had to take my daughter somewhere. She came and got in the car. I was talking about always being a trash picker. My mama always taught me that one man's trash is another man's treasure. So up here in where I live, we have a college town, and once a year we have what is called the Big Garbage Day, where the landlords and tenants can take all of their stuff out and throw it away. Tables, chairs, dressers, you name it. I remember at one point in one of the houses we lived, I walked in there with my kid's dad, and I was like, "What is the most expensive thing we've bought in this room?" And I think it was a dollar store clock on top of the TV. The rest I had brought home out of the garbage, or someone had given it to us, and those types of things, because there's such an abundance of things over here. And I started to watch these trash days, and all of these very good items that people would just throw away that ended up crushed in a trash can, and I used to collect them. I used to drive around for all those days. This one time I think I collected 20 recliners that were good, and then I just handed them out to people that I knew, because I was like, why? Oh, it doesn't make sense. My oldest daughter, one time, because my children like to trash pick too, she got a whole wardrobe of name brand clothes that I couldn't afford, that these college kids threw away, that fit her. And we just took them home and we washed them, and she had a gorgeous wardrobe. I'd collect all the utensils and the towels and just watch them. I had abundance of towels. You know how expensive towels are? That they would just throw away, that they didn't need to take home. And the rest of the stuff I would put in my basement or in my sheds. And then when I would come across a family that needed something, there I had to give it to them. They didn't have to pay me. They didn't have to ask. Oh, I got that. I have that. It's okay. I got it. And it hurt my soul to see people be so wasteful. People are so wasteful. Ungrateful. So I always wondered why we couldn't just take all this stuff over here that we just either throw away or hoard. Why we couldn't just put it on a military plane, send it where people need it, or at least hand it out over here. Instead, we give it to corporations like Goodwill and Planet Aid, or whatever those yellow boxes are now that people drop off all their clothes with good intentions. Then you walk into those places and they get all this stuff for free, and they're selling it for a ridiculous price that you can almost buy brand new stuff, when it should be just given out, maybe $1 a piece, so you can still have workers. Or I would donate my time, as long as you were giving it for free. I would donate my time. I'd probably live donating my time. But why couldn't we just have a community that would go spend 4 hours a day to shift through it? And people would be like, throw away the clothes that has stains on it, or a little hole, or people without any clothes would not mind that stain or that hole. I just can't see just throwing things away that could be used, especially in other places of the world that are not as fortunate as us. I remember one time when my kids were in elementary school, and Christmas time rolled around, and we were required to get a box for kids and send it overseas with like crayons and soaps and toothbrushes and those types of things. And I thought, with all that money that goes into charities, why would we do that? And I also thought, if these children have never had, what's one box of crayons going to do once they're gone, besides make you miss something? And your crayons break, you can't replace them. That soap runs out and you're back where you started. And that'll just cause a hole in your heart for something else for you to miss. Kind of like you don't know what you got until it's gone. Although I wanted these children to have all these things, but I thought, why would an elementary school have to do these things? Now we were teaching our children, of course, but why are we still in that place from when I was a little girl? It was decades later here. Why can't more people volunteer their time? Why do we feel like we're so busy? Critical thinking, pattern recognition. That I'm great at. The pattern recognition from the experiences that our Father has brought me through. Sitting around surrounded by stuff all the time, just surrounded by stuff. I would take, well, my kids would grow out of their clothes. I lived in, like a housing development when I first came out of foster care when I was real young. So when my children would grow out of their clothes, or I had an abundance of things, or even a bag of things to give away, I would at least take it over there to people who were just starting out or people that I knew needed stuff. Took it over. I had a person that would take in all the stuff and make sure that it got handed out, or you could put it in the laundry room on a table where people could shift through it. Better than putting it in those boxes and those CEOs to make even more money. I've worked for corporations now that when an item is no longer going to be sold, that they make you throw away, that you have to cut the blankets off or break the CDs or make sure that nobody can get in the dumpster, get it for free, because holy cow, we wouldn't want that. And those things twisted my empathy and my understanding, and it would make me so angry. How could you just throw blankets away when there's homeless people sleeping on the streets? You would rather destroy it than give somebody a hand. Because of greed. And I posted the other day about how much food America just throws away. The statistics of that. And there are children starving. I watch as people try to go out and feed the homeless and get citations because you don't have this license and this license and this license to feed people. That doesn't make any sense. I could tell you if I was homeless on the street, I don't care whose hands made a peanut butter and jelly or a hot meal. Oh, you could make them sick. We're sick and dying out there anyways, right? We're hungry. That's evil. Why doesn't our community stand up against those types of laws? Because it doesn't affect them in their comfortable homes. When I say it out loud around me, everybody agrees, but we never move to change those things. We're so wasteful. I can't make it make sense in my head. It's not supposed to make sense. It's not supposed to make sense that these corporations make so much money. I remember when Dustin was talking about how they were launching rockets, and he was showing us they were launching rockets every night. And just the money that goes into NASA. How would that not be evil that you would put so much money into things like that when that's not what matters? Why isn't there something like NASA that just feeds the world? Reach out to the children. And I know what it feels like to be one of those children. Orphaned, alone, houses that were evil, people that had no good intentions, just trying to make that money, and abusing the kids all along the way. Ooh, so much more now because there's so many, even people from my high school that have died from drug overdoses and the drug epidemic that is the world we live in. So there's more children that are just as broken as I was. I'm sure living in houses where people don't care, because that doesn't change CPS. It's just, we could go into conspiracy theories about that. We have all these church buildings and all these money coming in. I've always wondered when I was in foster care, and like I said, we had faith before I left. We had a home-based church that I went to every Sundays and Wednesdays and was part of the choir and the Bible camps and the vacation schools. And not one of them, not one of my church family, and we were supposed to be a family, right? Not one of them ever made sure that I still came to church on Sundays. And I remember asking myself when I was little, when I was watching the world for what it was, I always wondered why they didn't come. Our Bible says to protect the orphans and the widows, and I was definitely an orphan. A very young one. And I wonder why they never did the things that they preached. I wonder if they ever looked around on Sunday and thought, sure do miss Missy here. I wonder why they didn't reach out just to make sure I came to church. You didn't even have to take me into your home. But why did you not make sure that I was still coming to church every Sunday? Because you had done that my entire life when you would come pick me up in the church bus. Loved riding in the church bus. It was so cool and neat when I was little. All those seats. Things that help me, help Satan use against me. Go, if these people were really doing what the Bible told them to do, they wouldn't be acting the way that they did. Hypocrites. You preach one thing and live another. You don't have to go out to the bar to not be doing God's commandments. Even my home church proved that to me when I was a little girl. Or to sit in the room with the adults when they thought you weren't listening, but you were. You hear them talk so bad about one another. Oh, they're doing this wrong. Oh, they're doing this wrong. You talk, but did you ever help it change? I was a little girl right under that steeple who loved our Father more than anything in the world. And you threw me to the wolves. You preach one thing and you lived another. And out of sight, out of mind, man. I wonder how often they prayed for me after that. Probably a whole lot at the beginning, maybe. and then you just drift out of their minds. I understand that it wasn't supposed to be that way. My father had chosen my path, but he did choose it for me to point it out. I do understand that the world is not going to get better. That's not the plan. But it's because of some of those reasons right there that it wouldn't get any better. I want everybody I love to wake up. It's like walking around with the living dead. I know people don't like to feel sorrow and pain, and that's why they shut it off, but we're to bear each other's burdens. I just want you to wake up before it's too late and time is running out. I pray for our Father to come, as I did when I was little. I prayed earnestly every day, especially after my mom died. When are you coming? Where are you at? Let's get this over with. Done with this place. I am really done with this place. I just want to go home. No tears, no sorrows. Like, I want it over. I remember first coming out of witchcraft and the different churches I would go to and the pastors that I would speak to. Still to this day, and they're still praying to make the world better. And I don't pray so much for that anymore. I just want to go home. I just want it to be over. I want justice. I've always wanted justice. And there's no justice found in this earthly realm. Those who are to be forgiven, I want to come to our Father to be forgiven, but the rest of them, man, I want justice and the vengeance is His. I want these evil beings to pay for the things that they do to people, these children. These awful things they do to babies and children. I want Him to pay. I hate the things of this world. Always have. It's gotta end, because it's never gonna change. So it has to end. And I pray that you're one of the ones that the Father has chosen. Because no one will be taken out of Yeshua's hand that the Father has put in there. And there will come a day when the last one of us will hit our knees. We'll ask for forgiveness and judgment will be on its way. And judgment doesn't wait for anybody. But there are ones our Father are waiting for. That makes sense. He knows. For my friends and family around me, I love you with every ounce of being inside of me. I always have. My love shouldn't be questioned even though I made mistakes. Because when I love you with everything. With everything. And even when you talk behind my back and you call me crazy, or that can't be the way, I still love you and I forgive you. Forgiveness is easy for me. That was instilled when I was a child, though. I hope that if I've ever offended you or hurt you in any way, that you have found it in your heart to forgive me. Because we need forgiveness. We need to understand how to forgive to be forgiven. I love you all. I breach my Father's word. I bring that sword, not out of anger, but out of love. Until next time, I love you all very much.